Yeah, I was gonna say the official thing. I've got wine in my glass. We're good to go.
That's great.
Civil Grit. Alex poured it for me because we figured that's the classic.
That's
the wine that got us interested in bringing in all the kid wines here. Was
and it is so good.
It is. It's always good. It always pleases everybody. Like it's just there's no point. Like I mean,
exactly.
Yeah.
It is definitely that little black dress of wine.
It is. That's exactly the way to put it. Exactly. Anyways, welcome, Karen. So what can you, I was gonna say, what's up for this year? Let's go through some of the wines that we're gonna have this evening and give us some of your thoughts on it. Maybe some highlights, some of your favorites, food pairing ideas. I'm all ears.
Absolutely. Well, one thing I will start with, just so I don't forget, I just got a note from the winemaker. He's confirmed that the grapes are looking spectacular this year. He's feeling really good about the crop. And so this year he is going to this fall make the Blanc de Blanc he's been wanting to make with our estate Chardonnay grapes. So it'll be 5 years in the bottle. So you have to hang on to try it, but it'll be pretty exciting. That'll be the most northerly, traditional method, sparkling wine made in Ontario.
Well, I'm excited. We'll be first in line to try it as soon as
I think so. Well, I'm definitely going to be front in line because I love me some bubblies.
Yes, so do I.
And speaking of bubblies, one of the things I know that you have available for your customers is our kindling, which is such a perfect wine for casual get-togethers. Like this is, for me, Friday night when you're just end of the day and you want something refreshing and you're just winding down. This is so wonderful. And it's one of our most popular wines at the winery, made with Vidal in the Charmat method. So the same way you make Prosecco. It's lemony, it's got some lovely flavor, good texture, lovely mousse, and it's just easy to enjoy. So that one, I know some people will be wanting to try tonight. I don't know if you have that by the glass.
Oh yeah, so they can actually even try samples of it as part of their flight, which is great. And I would suggest that'll be perfect with oysters.
Oh, it would be delicious with oysters.
Yes.
And really any kind of little appetizer tapasy things would be just delicious. So then after that, we should talk maybe about some white wine.
Yes.
And you have, I think you said earlier we were talking, and you probably have all of our wines. So,
I think we do. So just keep listing them and I'll say if we don't have it, but I'm pretty sure we do.
I think you do. So what I'll start with is mentioning, I believe you have some of our Carp Ridge Chardonnay. So the Carp Ridge is the designation we have for anything made with our 100% of our estate grapes. So here in the Ottawa Valley, we're on a beautiful limestone ridge. So it's really the perfect location and altitude and everything for both Chardonnay and Pinot Noir. So that's what we've planted on the estate. And so our flagship, you can see here 92 points for our Carp Ridge Chardonnay. And what's really lovely, this one has had very little done to it, you might say, as far as filtering, because it just came out so perfectly, so beautiful. It's not heavily oaked. So some people say, oh, I'm not sure I really like Chardonnays because they can be very heavy on the oak flavor, that buttery, butterscotchy thing. This is more of a light, lemony, vivacious, just delicious Chardonnay. And so this is one for those who don't think they like Chardonnay.
Right.
They really.
That's true. Most people who say they don't like Chardonnay, it's because they don't like the oak.
They don't like the oak.
That's
and there was a time when wineries, in especially other parts of the world, but we were, guilty of it in Ontario too, put it in too much oak. And so it just changed it so much. And Chardonnay, when it's, not overly oaked up, is just a delicious, lovely wine to enjoy. So I really hope people will try that if they're not sure about Chardonnay.
Oh, well, I'm sure we can convince them.
And for anyone who does like the more buttery style of Chardonnay, the Kin Chardonnay. So that's another one that we have, and I know you have it in stock. The Kin Chardonnay is made with grapes mostly out of Niagara. And it is just slightly riper there because a little bit longer growing season. So you'll find it will have a bit more of that butterscotchy butter flavor, but again, it's still fresh. The acidity is going to keep it light and enjoyable. But if someone is a Chardonnay fan, the Kin Chardonnay will really appeal. And then for others who say absolutely not to Chardonnay, I've got one final one to tempt them. We have something called the Civil Grit Chardonnay, and it is unoaked, 100% no oak. And you have it in your glass.
I certainly do. Big fan.
I wish I had it in my glass right now. I should have brought one out. But it is a big, very popular wine with our customers here in the Ottawa Valley. Because it's unoaked, it goes with everything. It's just a really easygoing white wine that's kind of like when you're not sure what you want, but you know you'd like it to be white and crisp. This wine will do that job for you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not too expensive, and so it's a really great one for people to try.
It's another one that I always surprises people. Again, the ones who say they don't like Chardonnay until they try this one.
Absolutely. I had someone I chatted with, a friend of a friend, and she's like, oh yeah, hate Chardonnay. I'm like, oh, okay. So I had her try the unoaked Chardonnay, and next thing I turn around, she's buying unoaked Chardonnay, like to take home.
Yes.
I'm like, who are you?
I've convinced a few people as a non-Chardonnay drinkers too over the years. And it's just, and as soon as you figure out what the thing is that they don't like, it's so easy to be able to match them with their new favorite.
Exactly. Well, before we leave the land of Chardonnay, I know we've had a lot to see. I have one more that I wanted to show. And of course, I've hidden it all myself. There we go. So this is the one that is a bit different. So I understand you have a certain amount of orange wines on your list. So your customers are starting to get used to orange wine. This is the one that Kin has made for the last couple of years. And it is elegant and beautiful. It is using our estate grapes, so those very, precious ones from our organic and biodynamically raised grapes. And it has had like very little intervention, of course. And like all orange wines, this is made the way you would make a red wine. So you sit on the wine on the skins for half of it up for 14 days and the other half for 19 days. And with that, what you get is a little bit of extra complexity and flavor. So almost Earl of Bergamot, which is the flavor in Earl Grey tea, a little bit of that. And a little bit of that tea feeling, the tannins that you get in red wine. There's a little bit of that in this as well. And it just makes it, refreshing, delicious. And it pairs with really eclectic kind of food. So I think you were saying you have some pinchos tonight?
Yeah, I have some pinchos. I'm probably going to be doing I have one with a seared tuna and like an avocado that's got like sesame or soy and ginger in it. So like that would be really good with it. And then what else am I going to do tonight? There was something else that I was thinking of that was more of a Mexican style, like a little beef one. So I'm thinking those flavors would go really well, even with a beef for those who are not red wine drinkers.
Yes.
Like this is that next best thing, right?
Exactly. I have a niece who works at a Thai fusion place in Toronto. And she ordered this from me, and we finally got to eat in the restaurant. And I realized how well this style of wine match with their food. They carry a lot of this style of wine for that reason. It just goes really, really well with all those wonderful, Asian flavors and or Mexican and grilled things. So I really am excited for people to try it. And you're doing your tastings is the perfect way. You don't have to commit to a bottle. You can try it.
Yes.
And see what you think.
We always like people to try new things.
Yes. Well, that's a great one to try for something brand new. And one thing that is not brand new, but I think it's always delicious. You have some of our rosé. And so this is our Pinot Noir rosé. So because it's Pinot Noir based, which as everybody may have heard, is kind of a finicky grape. And so when a winemaker uses Pinot Noir to make a rosé, they really are looking to make something elegant and wonderful to take advantage of that beautiful grape. And so you get some nice sort of cranberry, strawberry, cherry vibes in this. It's crisp, it's super dry. I know a lot of people are always looking for something that's low sugar. Almost all of the wines, in fact, all of the wines we've talked about thus far are very low in sugar, except for our bubbly has a little bit of residual, like many bubblies do.
You don't
But
notice
not
it with the bubbles.
But it's not sweet, exactly, because of the bubbles and because of the acid.
That's right.
But on the dry or the still wines, you know, this is super dry. In fact, our flagship Chardonnay has 0 grams of residual sugar, 0. So
Wow.
if someone's really avoiding the sugar, we have some wonderful options.
That's great.
And this is great. I mean, this is the time of year, it's delicious, but of course, rosé is great any time of year. It outsells white wine in France now. And I love it in the fall with turkey and things like that. It's beautiful with food. It can come on inside. So if you buy some and you have a little bit left, keep it for the fall. You'll really enjoy it.
Well, that's what I said. I wish people would start drinking Chardonnay or drinking rosés in other times of year than just patio season.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because rosés go with a lot of different things.
They really do. And especially something like this, that's that crisp elegance. So it's transitioning. It's not just about a hot patio, although it's going to be awful refreshing on a hot patio.
And now what's next?
Well, I think we need to start with some reds, don't you?
Yes. Yes.
And because it is warm right now, one of the best wines, red wines in the summer months and into the fall is Gamay. Gamay is such a beautiful wine, and we are very proud. We have 2 Gamays actually that we make, and you've got the wonderful Civil Grit Gamay. So it is oaked, but not crazy heavy oaked. And it's still refreshing, so it has a bit of lightness to it, but you know, light to medium bodied, and just full of wonderful flavors. Like it is got gorgeous fruit. It's nice and juicy, and because it's got, you know, the nice acidity, it refreshes your palate as you're having it. So this is also another wonderful wine to go with food. Like this is a barbecue.
That's exactly what I was going to say. This is my favorite grape to go along with barbecue. Ribs and barbecue chicken and all that stuff. Gamay is my favorite.
Exactly, because it matches with the acidity of some of those sauces and the tomato and the sweetness. And so the fruit, the nice ripe fruit that's in here is going to match beautifully with all of that. And if someone wants red, this would be great with your Mexican pinchos.
Yes, yes, absolutely it will.
Yeah, so I really hope people do try that, because I know there are folks that really only like red. So it's nice to mix it up and have a different lighter one for this summertime when it's warm, and sometimes a really big red might be a bit heavy.
Yeah,
so
I find it gets a little syrupy when it's
not at its
outside.
Not at its best. And Gamay does like a few minutes in the fridge before you serve. So I always toss it in for maybe 15-20 minutes in the fridge, and then it just makes it even more silky and enjoyable.
What I usually tell people as a little tip, so for those of you who are going to be buying bottles and drinking it at home, is to have a bucket of ice water, just like you normally would white, and then just put it in and out, especially if you're enjoying it outside. In the heat, it gets too warm. Yes. So never hesitate to put your red in with your whites for a few minutes as you need to throughout the summer.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, it's perfect at that slightly cooler temperature. And it's just, it's not cold, but it's refreshing. Yeah, that's a great tip, actually.
Well, thank you.
I'm sure you have lots of good advice for everyone. And then the other one I thought I would show is something that's new for you. And I think we've made it for a couple of years now. So this is our Marquette. So Marquette's a grape that not everybody knows, but it's a grape that was developed in Minnesota because it grows really, really well in northern climates. It's resistant to disease. It can handle the cold. And the grape is actually related to Pinot Noir. So that's sort of one of its heritage grapes. But it's been selected to do really well in our climate. And this gives you a bit of a bigger red than the Gamay. So a little bit more of that medium bodied. You've got some oak, some spice, and even kind of like having an Italian Barbera or something. It's smooth. The tannins are low in here. There's enough acidity to keep it fresh, again, with food. But yeah, this will be for the folks who want something a little bit heavier, but not heavy. This is a great thing to try. And it's fun to try something new like Marquette. Marquette's just been made a VQA grape about 2 years ago in 2019, COVID years. I'm not sure how many years ago that was, but 2019 it was announced. And that's great because that actually also helps the winemakers, because VQA wines have a little bit more awareness out there, and it's taxed a little bit more friendly than when they were not VQA. And this one, all the fruit grows in Owen Sound at a organic farm for us. So a beautiful wine to try, and really kind of excited for them to try something new. And Marquette's kind of new and fun that way.
Well, I said it could be trying it new. This is a good opportunity to try it, and even side by side with some of the other reds. And then now, when they do actually start seeing it on their shelves at in the Ontario section at LCBO,
we hope it will. Yes, more.
Yes, they'll be familiar with it, so they'll know what the grape is, and they'll know. Then they say, "I've already tried that."
Yeah, I know that style or where it kind of fits in, and yeah, I like that style. And you can seek it out. So we do hope to start seeing more Marquettes on the, being available for people. But so take advantage of trying it now.
That's right. We've got it. So you might as well try it now.
Exactly. Okay. And then from that, I would like to talk Pinot Noir.
Yay.
Yay, Pinot Noir. So Pinot Noir is something that our winemaker is super passionate about. And it's partially because our winery is so well situated to grow Pinot Noir grapes, which because we're on the same latitude actually as a lot of the growing regions in Europe, in France, where they grow the best Pinot Noir. And Pinot Noir likes to be somewhere cool. Like if it grows somewhere hot, it just doesn't taste like Pinot Noir. It kind of gets, they say flabby is a word for wine, but it just isn't as elegant and refreshing. And ours really is. It will give you that lovely red fruit flavor, and also some spice and some floral notes. It really is. Our Pinot Noir Carp Ridge, as we can see here, 93 points, and bronze from Decanter, which is a European body that judges wines all around the world.
Big kudos.
Yes, so both the Carp Ridge Pinot Noir and the Chardonnay both got the Decanter award, which is really very prestigious and wonderful. And yeah, we're getting fantastic. We're still getting some of the big wine writers in Toronto trying the wines, and they're just like, oh, where's this been? And they're writing wonderful reviews. So for anyone who either absolutely loves Pinot Noir or would like to try Pinot Noir, I really recommend they do try actually both of ours, because the Carp Ridge one, our flagship, is super elegant and light, and as I say, have a bit of that floral a note to it. And then our Pinot Noir, Kin Pinot Noir, is our other one. So they look very similar, I know. But the Kin has been made with grapes out of Niagara from our partner, Ed Hughes, who grows the most meticulously beautiful fruit. And because the grapes there get that little bit riper, you're going to find a little bit darker fruit in this one, just a little bit more body, a little bit bigger expression. I personally love them both. So I can't really, it's like having two children. I can't say that I like one more than the other. But that one would also be wonderful for folks to try, try these two plus, the grandson Marquette perhaps, and see how they all compare to each other.
Well, I think it would be interesting for the red wine lovers out there to do the Gamay, the Marquette, and then both Pinot Noirs. And then I bet you they'll be surprising themselves at what their new favorite might be.
I think you're right. Because they are so wonderful and beautifully made. We have, as I say, a great winemaker, and lots of care and love goes in.
Good. So how about just as a little finale besides before people start getting tasting in here,
Yeah.
what's happening at the winery for this season so that people can maybe make a plan to come out and visit you in person?
Oh, it'd be so exciting to have people come to Ottawa, and we would love to see everyone. As of last weekend, we are now open at the winery 7 days a week. And I don't know if any of the folks have been up, but we now have a restaurant on site. So casual restaurant, open air, but with, cover. So you can have wood fired pizza and little small bites of olives and marinated olives or cheese and burrata, that sort of thing. Just delicious. And you can have flights of wine if you don't want to commit to one. And in fact, what is nice is you can take your glass at the end of the meal as the sun is setting and walk anywhere in the vines, because the whole place is a winery. So it's all licensed. And that's really quite wonderful as well. So it's a great spot to come for the day, come for lunch, come for dinner. And you can even you can book a tour if you want. We do occasionally have some special things like paint nights, things like that. So you have to check our website to see what's happening right now. But yeah, we just love having people come, and it always amazes people when they come. It's like, wow, this is in Canada.
Right? Exactly.
Exactly. And it's beautiful because where you'll eat is you're right overlooking the vines, and you can walk out into them. You're about halfway down the ridge, because it starts on a beautiful ridge and ends at the Carp River. So it's a pretty spot to walk around and just enjoy a sunset or a lunch.
Well, if that doesn't make anyone have any tourist plans for the summer, I don't know what does. Anyways, I really appreciate you joining us once again for our Tasting Room Thursday event.
I'm delighted.
I said, I know you've got sunshine here. We're having a rainy evening, but what else is there to do in a rainy evening than sit around and sip wine?
That sounds like the perfect solution.
That's great.
Have fun tonight.
Okay. Cheers to you.
Cheers to you.
Thanks, Karen. Take care.